Good morning, and welcome to the 12 Attitudes and Responsibilities of Mastery. My name is Michael Bailey, and today is Wednesday, the 7th of September, 2016. We're going to pick up this week where we left off last week, which was with joy. We're going to start here with the 6 steps toward personal joy. Number 1, surrender to the moment. Suspend all judgment and expectations. Open to receive the lessons and the gift in self-awareness that each moment holds. Transcend polarity thinking and seek the gift. What can I learn from this that will take me to higher levels of self-awareness? Number 2, be here now. Direct thoughts out of the past and away from the future to the ever-present now moment. Observe, without judgment, what is now. And ask yourself, am I right here, right now? Many people are in the past or in the future, and they don't realize it. Feel. Shift from thinking to knowing. Suspend linear thought analysis and mind chatter, and breathe in the now moment of your present moment as energy. Connect with our 3D reality in direct cognition rather than indirect observation. What does now feel like? Don't answer without words. Feel. What does now feel like? Number 4, choose your response. Act rather than react. We can change how we feel in any moment by changing our judgments of a situation. Take time to re-perceive the circumstances of upset and learn to reframe your judgments in search of the hidden gift and potentials. In any moment, we can choose how we will respond. How can I reframe this? And what is the best way to respond for joy? Number 5, experience stillness. Know silence. Sit quietly. Breathe slowly and deeply. Cease all mind chatter. And hold your body as still as possible. Block out or remove any distracting stimuli. The telephone, especially your cell phone, turn it off or turn the ringer off. Bring your attention to a single point of focus. You can focus on the breath and experience no thing, nothing. Discover that still point of your eternal core. Number 6, honor your whole being. Pay attention to the signals of your body, your mind, and your emotions, the spirit inner child, adolescent master, and honor the needs of your multiple parts in a balanced way. Find out what you really need and give to others only that which makes you feel joyful to give freely. What do I really need right now? Am I giving freely in joy, or am I giving in order to receive? How can I fulfill my own needs? The 6 steps towards joy with others. Number 1, own your own stuff. When you're feeling bothered or flustered, breathe. Find the still point within and gently ask your soul for solutions. Refrain from complaining and expecting others to resolve your issues. You have the power within to unbother yourself, to restore joy without violating the boundaries of others. Be assertive with others and lovingly ask them not to dump their stuff on you, reminding them of their power to create joy. And ask yourself, am I dumping my stuff on others right now? Am I allowing others to drain me by dumping their stuff on me? What are the real issues? Number 2, respect boundaries. Set and honor healthy personal boundaries and kindly but assertively remind others that you will not have them crossed. Respect the boundaries of others and refrain from acts of disrespect such as gossip, unsolicited advice, critiquing and judging, making assumptions and presumptions, minding their business, attempting to directly or indirectly control their actions, attitudes, or emotions. Respect people's right to be who they are, and respect your own right to have and uphold personal boundaries. Am I genuinely respecting the boundaries of others? Am I allowing my boundaries to be violated? What actions can I take to change this? Number 3, mutuality. Competition, one-upsmanship, and passing judgment on others are ego games that blind you to self-awareness and empowerment. If situations are approached from a win-win perspective out of mutuality and the highest vision for all is sought, joyful solutions will prosper. What is the highest win-win vision right now? How can we both get our needs met? Are we respecting each other's boundaries? How will I heal or disengage non-mutual relationships? In other words, how will I heal or disengage relationships with people who don't respect boundaries? Number 4, be effective. Having the right implies making others wrong and sets the stage for conflict. Is being right more important than creating desired outcomes? Being effective is finding win-win solutions, respecting the rights of all to be exactly who and how they are, even if you disagree. If you do not respect each other's boundaries and own your own stuff, you will be unable to create mutuality or effective solutions. If others need to make you wrong, recognize the ego game and simply refrain from engaging or playing the game. You do not have to justify your existence to others, and they do not have to justify their existence to you. To ask yourself, am I trying to make someone wrong? Is someone trying to make me wrong? Are we respecting each other's boundaries and right to be? Can I engage this with effective action? Number 5, in 6 steps towards joy with others, is responsibility. If we take responsibility for our words, actions, motives, and experiences, We will not blame others for our problems, and thus will empower ourselves to solve them. Self-awareness comes from gently critiquing ourselves to determine where our actions are violating others or are ineffective. Replace blame with compassion, humility, and effective action to reclaim your power to create joy. And ask yourself, am I acting responsibly, or am I blaming others? Am I allowing others to use blame as a way to control or manipulate me? How can I take responsible action in handling my stuff? Number 6, humility. Humility is knowing your true place in relation to the universe and the environment around you. It is knowing that you are not above or below others, and that all beings and all things are a part of God, and therefore all should always be treated with love, honor, kindness, respect, mutuality, allowance, responsibility, and reverence, regardless of how they may react to you. Do I act with humility? Some things to ponder and think about. Take some time to breathe today. On the inhale, think, I am joy. On the exhale, just breathe the joy out into all of your cells. Do this several times, and then just sit quietly in the silence. And some suggested I am statements. I am joy. I choose to be the embodied all oneness. This is a new section in this material called Embodying the Responsibilities of Mastery. There is power in responsibility. If you want the power, you need to take the responsibility. We were created to fulfill the role of Earth Guardian and conscious co-creators of our reality. We have the intelligence, fortitude, and ability to become responsible for the direction in which our destiny unfolds. We can rediscover the beauty of our race and allow the beauty to burst forth into the universe, renewing all that it touches. In doing so, we can be renewed in resurrecting the majesty of our own multidimensional selves. We must become conscious co-creators of reality and leaders of ourselves. When people can lead themselves, they do not need leaders. And when people can heal themselves, they do not need healers. When people realize that God exists within them and that they exist within that force, they will not need others to save them. Discovering, comprehending, changing, and healing the base belief program is the responsibility of each individual whose life is immersed within and controlled by that program. And each individual that can successfully make conscious changes and create a more rewarding idea program makes it easier for the next person to succeed. The first responsibility of mastery is self-actualization. Actualization is the development of a consistent relationship with parts of yourself through DNA activation and through dedication to techniques. Consistency is the key. The Universal Christos Density Divine Blueprint Pre-Matter Living Liquid Light Field represents a direct expression of divine will, original intention, and the embodiment of the natural physics laws of energy and consciousness, through which that intention is perpetually expressed. The first Christos seed atom that each birthing 15-dimensional time matrix receives renews this universal Christos expression eternally. Everything must initially pass through the cosmic Christos seed atom and universal Christos seed atom divine blueprints in order to enter the manifestation arena, meaning physicality. And everything, without exception, must pass back through the universal Christos and cosmic Christos to return to full demanifest at one-ment with God's source. When manifest beings use their gift of free will choice within cooperative, co-creative relationship to the intrinsic natural laws of energy and the original divine intention, the state of at one-ment with God's source can be known and embodied while within the manifest experience, meaning while within a physical body. Being both a sentient individual manifest and simultaneously knowing oneself as a direct embodied expression of Christic God's source is known as the state of God actualization. This state creates the experience of fully engaged non-attachment, accompanied by perpetual unconditional love, peace, spiritual and material mastery, and ecstatic joy within the manifest arena. Manifest beings are enabled to experience this state of God actualization due to the two-way swinging door to God, the living, eternal, internal Amoreya flame standing wave of Manu, Holy Spirit, that resides within the center of the personal Christos seed atom in the Azare, center point, of the personal inner Christ divine blueprint. The Azare is located right in the area of the thymus gland. The Holy Spirit, eternal internal flame, is not just a spiritual concept. It is a tangible, quantifiable, standing wave of living Manu God Force consciousness, expressing in the form of a standing wave of energy radiation within the universal Christos seed atom and within the embodied personal spark, God spark seed atoms of every living thing manifest form. The personal God spark seed atom within the shield manifestation template of an individual exists as the portion of personal anatomy through which the natural energy conduits between the manifest self, universal Christos, cosmic Christos, and the cosmic divine trinity, Manu, Mane, Ire. Manu is the still point, Mane is the divine masculine, Ire is the divine feminine. God force, primal life force currents remain open. Some things to think about and ponder. Close your eyes and imagine yourself within the emerald blue-green living eternal internal Amoreya flame standing wave of Manu Holy Spirit that resides within the center of the personal Christos seed atom Azare at the center point of the personal inner Christ divine blueprint. Just imagine yourself immersed in a teardrop-shaped flame of emerald blue-green living flame. And allow the frequency to flow through your biofields. Breathe and allow the frequencies to build an Akasha teardrop-shaped pillar around you. Some suggested linguistic template reprogramming statements, or I am statements. I am unconditional love and peace. I am spiritual and material mastery. I am ecstatic joy. I am this. I am. Activation versus actualization. The difference between activation and actualization is that activation will give you a nanosecond of primal life force current frequency. What you want is to have a more consistent and stable relationship with an increasingly greater volume of primal life force currents. Actualization is the development of a consistent relationship with parts of yourself through DNA activation and through dedication to techniques. However, if you pull an apartheid plug out, and apartheid is an energy receiver, and you do not consciously do something to shift your present moment awareness in the way that you manage your thinking and feeling processes more consciously, you will not take advantage of moving the plug you want to get rid of. There are 20,736 apartheid plugs, of which approximately 14,500 are pulling in chaotic frequency. The sense of balance comes from the shift from the third strand DNA levels up to 4.5. Remember, we have, science shows we only have 2, but all that junk DNA, they call it, those are actually, there's actually a total of 12. And we're talking about activating up to strands 4.5. This sense of balance comes because you will have gotten to a point where you are balancing your positive and negative apartheid receivers at a minimum. Some things to think about. Imagine a miniature you and send it into the Azure point in the center of your chest. It's actually at the top of the breastbone, approximately an inch or two below where your collarbones come together. Have your mini-me self enter the eternal, internal Amareya flame standing wave of Manu Holy Spirit that resides within the center of the personal Christos seed atom Azure, right in that space. Breathe in the flame and imagine becoming one with the flame. This is a little mini-me of yourself in the center of your chest. That is your still point, literally. Some suggested I am statements. I am free now from the victim-victimizer blame game. I am the eternal Amareya flame. I am a standing wave of Manu Holy Spirit. I am this. I am. The second responsibility of mastery is self-sovereignty. If we open the God force within us, we will be capable of self-sovereignty. We can look at any situation involving any other person, thing, or being and ask, what is actually happening here? Is what's occurring here based on fear? Is it in me? Is it in them? Are we sharing it? And how do I, given my commitment to angelic mind, how do I change that? I express my sovereignty by saying, I choose not to associate with actions of that kind. They are not appropriate with the frequency resonance that matches the way I feel that I am right now. If we want the God force within us, if we open the God force within us, we will be capable of self-sovereignty. If we have this capability within and all it entails, why would we want to ask anyone else to do it for us? That is only for those who believe they are not at one with God, and that they are separate and lowly and sinful. If we open to our own spirit, we can become directors of our own destiny instead of being victims. Peace comes with this knowing, even if your life is rough. The first step is to willingly acknowledge that we are responsible for our own salvation. No one else can save us. Nothing outside of us can save us. We cannot urge you enough to begin looking within, to discover the wisdom and brilliance of your inner self, a portion of your own identities that you have been programmed to discount, negate, and fear. For it is through this disowned self that lives within each of you that your own truth will be discovered. It will be from this place within you that you will be enabled to find your own answers. And those answers may very well put you at odds with the official reality program you have been fed. Taking the time to look at the beliefs and ideas that constitute your moral, ethical, and perceptual codes will be well worth the investment. And then you will gain mastery over the contents of your conscious mind rather than allowing that mind to be directed by the whims of those outside of you, those who may not have your best interests at heart. As you temporarily sacrifice the sense of false security and pat answers given to you by the official program, you may take comfort in knowing that you are gaining the priceless acquisition of self-sovereignty. Through self-sovereignty, true personal security and clear answers will be found. Self-sovereignty means that when you have a question, you go within and you go vertical. We call it going vertical because you go up to your higher self rather than going horizontal and asking somebody out externally from you. You become self-sovereign. We can go back to the document that the Beloveds wrote some time ago and paraphrase a very powerful statement that went something like this. If you cannot feel the love, ask yourself why. Again, it all comes back to what is being mirrored to us. It always comes back to self. It all comes down to being a journey of self. The ultimate dichotomy is that only in self-sovereignty will we fully know the law of one. Cult is a word thrown at us by those who do not understand the power of these teachings. These teachings are called the freedom teachings for a very good reason. Their essence is self-sovereignty. If you studied cult psychology, you understand that there are several well-accepted definitions of a cult. A cult will always have a totalitarian figure, and allegiance and a worship-like stance are directed. Someone outside of yourself holds the key to your salvation. Keylontic science and the freedom teachings teach that you absolutely do not need anyone or anything outside of yourself. You are a face of God. We are about as far away from a cult as you can possibly get. There are still old, distorted programs in many of us that keep us looking for a wholeness outside of ourselves. I love the Emerald Order Hana Rite, which is the Azurite wedding ceremony. In it, it states that two become three. Two self-sovereign beings, complete and whole unto themselves, join to form a gestalt. Talk about power. But those powerful unions need to start from two spaces of individual completeness. You can reflect on the irony that the understanding of the law of one come from a long isolated journey of the self and the understanding of self. It seems so many of us found self-sovereignty by overcoming adversity. The old adage, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. Whatever way it happened, it is the self-sovereign who will walk through Stargate portals, ascension portals. However, now and then, as the song goes, we get by with a little help from our friends. The old adage that we are only as strong as our weakest link brought us down before. We need to be a chain of individual sovereign links, ready to stand alone if need be. We need to change the thinking from united we stand, divided we fall, to united we stand, divided we stand. Interesting, the planetary lessons of late. How life as we know it can change in a single day. A call to self-sovereignty, if there ever was one. Some things to ponder and think about. Ponder the concept of self-sovereignty. What does being self-sovereign mean to you? What would it feel like to be self-sovereign? Some LTR statements. LTR stands for Linguistic Template Reprogramming. These are spoken aloud I am statements. I am free now from the need for approval. I am a manifestation of God's Spirit. I am a self-sovereign being now. I am this. I am. The third responsibility of mastery is self-containment. One very simple, essential lesson: own your own stuff. The most important thing in personal growth and spiritual actualization is not so much what issues and challenges one may or may not have. The important thing is what one does with them. Attention and answers from your own personal inner Christos, from God's source, from the Guardian Alliance, or their earthly representatives, the speakers, and from everything in the universe are available if you appreciate the fact that attention and answers are gifts, not entitlements that you have the right to take for granted. If you repeatedly fail to recognize this fact and continue to spew demand, judgment, blame, and accusation of others into your world will progressively frustrate you by faithfully reflecting back to you the insensitivity, unkindness, unfairness, judgment, and lack of love you are spewing. Those who justify their inappropriate use of energy in this way can spew at God, the Eoni, the speakers, their mothers, their fathers, whatever, until their hearts are content. But in this way, their hearts will never be content. You hurt yourselves, not anybody else, through such attitudes and actions. These attitudes and actions keep yourselves stuck in the victim-victimizer blame game, or the VV game. The ideas you hold and allow yourself to entertain are creating your body and your emotional state as well. If you feel upset, it is because of the way you are representing something to yourself mentally, or because your mental body and your emotional body are being hit with certain energies that are very, very disharmonic to your fields, and you're doing your best to try to interpret what that is. You have the power with your conscious mind to begin to change that process. It begins with getting discipline of the mind and realizing you have a huge ability to make a difference in how your emotions feel and how your body acts. Garbage in, garbage out. GIGO. That is really the whole process. It works just like a computer. In fact, in computer science, that's a very elemental saying. It's GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. The challenge comes when you try to override the pattern that is creating the sensation that you don't like. You get so tired and feel lousy, and you don't even want to think about any of that stuff. But there is a pattern of energy there that is disharmonic, so it is making you feel yucky in a certain way, be it physically, mentally, or whatever. If you can generate a critical mass of frequency of its opposite, you can override those feelings. Let's say it is a thought that is causing it, or an emotion. Try to find what would be the opposite of that thought or that emotion. Do not try to word it to death. Do your best to feel it. Imagine walking down a beautiful beach on a warm, sunny spring day, and as you do that, imagine that you are smiling because you just won $450 billion and you never ever have to worry about working or doing anything that you do not choose to do in the world again. Start to use your mind to generate the emotions that will create the critical mass to override the yucky feelings. The more you do that, the more you will be able to get your emotional body to cooperate, because you are helping it to heal. And again, it's all about owning your own stuff. Some things to think about. Today, take some time and be the silent witness to all the thoughts you think and words you say. Where are you directing your energy? Is it internally or externally? Some suggested affirmations. I am a Christic being. I now direct all energies from my inner Christ. I am this. I am. The fourth responsibility of mastery is self-discipline. Do you each not have the gift of free will selection through which you can choose how you will respond to something, and thus correspondingly choose your experience of it? Who is responsible for your choices? The conscious mind has the free will power to actively choose ideas, beliefs, assessments, and labels that honor and recognize rather than deny the power of God's source within. The experience of fear or fearlessness is a free will conscious choice, a reality that is, and which Earth races have long forgotten. Fear emerges when you do not take responsibility for the thoughts and ideas you allow yourself to entertain, and thus you permit ideas that deny the God source within to control the biochemical translation of experience for you. Fearlessness is self-created through remembering that you have this free will conscious choice and that no one can ever take that away from you, and its inherent self-responsibility. and through willingly applying your gift of free will to create and entertain ideas, beliefs, thoughts, assessments, labels, and actions that honor and embrace rather than deny and disempower the living God source within you. You will continue to play the role of victim by denying the responsibility, accountability, knowledge, truth, reality, unconditional love, and limitless power inherent to the God source within you. The difference between a Christic and Metatronic path, Metatronic is a path of devolution or de-evolution. The difference between the Christic and Metatronic path is simply the difference between a loving God source within embraced or a judging Godhead without projected. It's really that simple. The principle of dignity. Through love, we build a bridge and bring together the races of the rays. We bring a message of love and harmony in unity to the people of all the rays and all the colors and all the countries. It is also a frequency that we are bringing, a frequency of consciousness to help unite people, a message of peace and love. There was once an argument that we would love one another regardless of what we chose to do, because we are all children of the rays. They're talking about the rays, they're referring to the 12 frequencies within our time matrix. In order to extend real love, we must first have to be able to love ourselves. You can't give what you don't have. So if you don't love yourself, how can you possibly love someone else? Loving myself means I will choose principles to live by and not just go wherever the whim takes me. One of the most important principles to walk with is the principle of dignity. No one can take my dignity away from me unless I give it to them. If you do not walk with dignity inside yourself, inside your mind, you will be unable to truly love anyone else because you will be unable to love yourself. If you are not walking with dignity, you are kicking yourself constantly. You are not being loving to yourself. You are telling yourself that you are garbage and not worth anything. So you should grab whatever you can, because whatever you grab is all you will get. Do not sell yourself short. Never settle for being less than your true, authentic self. Choose your principles and choose them with eyes wide open. Choose what means something to you and do not compromise it. Do not try to shove it down anyone else's throat either, because that is not loving them. There is a level of love in it that is very firm, but it is not pushy at all. It is firm in its own conviction. When you can love yourself, treat yourself with dignity. Choose principles to live by that have dignity, that respect you, that respect other beings, and that are fair. Whatever your chosen religion is, apply that with it. Once you can love yourself and treat yourself with dignity, you find that you will treat other people with exactly the amount of love and dignity with which you treat yourself. You will think you are giving them more, but you are not. You are actually doing to them exactly what you are doing to yourself. So if you are kind to yourself, you will be kind to them. If you are judgmental to yourself and always saying that you're not good enough and kicking yourself for when you did it wrong, realize some way you're doing that to other people. Choose well and aim high. We need to honor the dignity. When we walk in dignity and carry dignity, we will transmit dignity to others, and we will honor it in them. Some things to think about. What principles have you chosen to live by? Do you walk with the principle of dignity? What would you choose that you would never compromise? Deliberately use your free will conscious choice and do something to honor the living God source within you. And some suggested linguistic template reprogramming statements. Responding from my Christos, I now reclaim all errant energies. I am this. I am. And I'm going to stop here for today. We will pick up next week with self-love. Thank you for joining us.